Hello, welcome to Vivacious Stories. I'm B, and this month we are celebrating Mermay. It's another challenge month that I thought it would be fun to do on the channel. So this month I'll talk about books featuring merfolk and I'll have an art piece for each. Today's book is In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens. It is a 320-page YA fantasy LGBTQ plus interspecies romance about a young magical prince and his coming-of-age tour of the kingdom, who saves a merman, gets kidnapped by pirates, and must then make his way home to stop a war. The pacing was a bit off. Some of the events dragged on further than they should have, and other more important events were over in a flash. Problems were resolved pretty quickly and neatly, which could make things feel unearned, and the tension non-existing. The plot was pretty straightforward and sometimes told the two things correctly from info not given. Like the identity of the sea witch. I thought his deduction required more knowledge than he had at the time, like her lack of normal aging. It could be that I'm forgetting a piece of info, but I thought it was a wild assumption to make and it was correct. The evil character just accepted everything and confessed the entire plan, which made them feel cartoonish. Most of the characters felt like this. The romance was cute enough, but it needed to be more fleshed out. They fell in love too quickly and they didn't have much chemistry either. But I guess that's teenage love. It can be fast and all-consuming. Athlen started out as a funny fish or a water boy, and sometimes that shined through as the book progressed, but mostly he lost all personality and became a generic kind love interest. One of the disadvantages of published books versus fan fiction is the amount of time you can spend fleshing things out. Things got pretty depressing during captivity and the journey back home, but it mostly felt like it was close over. Same with the romance. At the end, Tal mentions all hopes and dreams he had for his life with Athlen, of which we saw almost none. It's a pity we can have 150k of traveling romance in published books, because this one needed it. That probably sounds like to most people. I didn't like the way the bargain was solved at the end. It felt completely unearned and a bit anticlimactic. Tal hurries to the sea witch to save Athlen's life despite being told not to, and decides he can't actually pay the price. So he lets him go, only someone else, someone we are not too attached to, runs out and decides to give themselves over, which is then taken as paying the price. I dislike that so much. I do feel like I'm being too harsh, but I hated that ending. Aside from the scene lacking emotion, I would have liked for the characters to think of a way to get what they wanted without having to commit an atrocity. And while this worked, they had to rely on someone completely unrelated to solve it for them. They weren't even friends. I thought it was a cowardly writing choice. It didn't feel fair at all, and I did not like them profiting from the choices of a desperate girl that had lost it all. This book was in my radar for a while, but I kept putting it off because I read So This Is Ever After, also by F.T. Lukens. And it was fine, but the characters felt interchangeable. I can see there was improvement in this book. The characters have more distinct personalities, and so the relationships aren't as bland, but the problems are still there. Due to the pros, I kept thinking the book was aimed at young YA, but then things would happen, like the captivity or characters getting propositioned or implied sex, and I would get a bit of whiplash. Now, for some things I really enjoyed or found to be well done. I thought the author was good at giving information but not info dumping, or at least it wasn't too egregious. Though sometimes the characters made some big leaps that made me feel as if information was missing. The world and the different types of magic were interesting. I wish other magical characters had gotten more page time because I found the shape-shifting brother and the sea witch intriguing. This came as a surprise for me since it happened at 30%, but I actually liked the main character. I wasn't that impressed by him until it came to escaping the pirates. He'd been holding back through all the abuse. But then he burned the ship down and most of the captors did not survive. I tend to root for these kinds of things, but you never know how the characters are going to react to their own actions later on. And while he did feel guilt about the loss of life, it is also not drawn out since he is conscious that it was a necessity and done as self-defense. It could have been easy to give in to the hate, to take lives without discrimination, or to self-flagellate forever and milk the guilt for all it was worth. But the character stayed in that middle ground. I appreciate that he used his power to defend others, but not in a deadly way unless necessary, and that he still had empathy and showed compassion for the surviving pirate. I liked the family dynamic too, and the siblings were fun when they were together. It was a fine read if you like YA and interspecies romance. This piece gave me so much trouble. The pose, and then when everything looked kind of fine, I had to add the clothes because he couldn't fall naked into the water, could he? And then I forgot what hands and hair are. And there are very few references for men with shirts underwater. I was so over my head, but the point of this was to challenge myself. What gave me courage to post was knowing I have literally 0 subscribers and 0 views and no one will notice. Silver linings. That was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a merry Mermay. Bye!